Hello, everybody, and welcome to StarNet Link. And today we're going to be doing Space School lesson number 20, which is going to be Xenopolitics Part 3. And in this video, I'm going to discuss some of the court cases that was presented to the Interplanetary and Galactic Court under when Mardik was under rulership before the new Guardian was placed in. Now, I want to let people know most of these court cases happened a lot during World War II and above. So this is mostly about modern history of present day court cases that were actually presented to um the Galactic Court case, to some of the Galactics. And the reason why I'm talking about this will help people a little bit understand that there are ETs that do have the best interest in heart for humanity. And then there is also other ET races that don't, that are neutral. And it will also help explain a little bit how the dynamics work when it comes to xenopolitics that I'm going to be publishing in my book, which will mostly explain a little bit more in depth about this. My presentation is mostly just to help me with talking points. So sorry if it's a little bit a mess, but I thought it would help people a little bit to understand xenopolitics and how it works out and how certain court cases kind of like brings about certain things for the Galactics to be concerned about. So any further ado, I thought that we would go ahead and talk about the Galactic Court cases that was presented to the Interplanetary and Galactic Court system. And this would explain the reason why we've been having such an influx of UFO activity, as well as other races monitoring other races that were coming to our planet. But it would also explain a little bit about the wide range of experiences that has happened throughout modern history. Now, there were galactic court cases that was presented to the Interplanetary and Galactic Court system a couple of years ago. What I mean by years ago, I mean like a couple of centuries ago. But I don't think a lot of people want to like talk about what happened 200 to 500 years ago. They would have rather listened to galactic court cases that happened in modern history, happened very, very recently within our human history. But if you guys do want me to talk about the ones that happened throughout history or the ones that was a little bit more prevalent, then I can go ahead and talk about them. But this is mostly galactic court cases that happen in modern history from World War II to the present day up until COVID. And so any further ado, I'll get started. So the first galactic court case happened in 1952, and the races that reported this case to the galactic, or I mean the interplanetary or galactic court system, was the Greys. Now, the gray race that we're talking about is not the Orions that a lot of people know. There were actually the Greys that were working for the Galactic Federation that was coming here. Now, there are Greys that don't work for the Anunnaki, but strictly work for the Galactic Federation. And then there are Greys that work for the Anunnaki that do their thing. So the gray race that reported them was the gray race that works for the Galactic Federation. They were the first ones to report what they were finding on the planet Earth. It was also them that also the Roswell crash was one of the major factors of them reporting it. There were a lot of races, especially the Anunnaki, that was fudging the reports about humanity. And a lot of them thought that the human race was ready for first contact. And so they initiated what was known as the intelligence test. The Roswell crash was done on purpose. Yes, it was shot down by the crystal grid network along our planet, but it was also shot down by other ETs or other ET races or interplanetary species that live here on this planet. They purposely shot it down to order to test to see how humanity or the world would respond to a UFO crash. And they have did this multiple times to see how we would interact with certain events. Now, there were certain UFO crashes that were crashed on purpose to speed up the evolutionary process of the United States or the rest of the world. This is the reason why we had a huge technology boom happen, is because they thought that some of the positive ETs thought that if they would crash UFOs on Earth, that it would speed up the evolution in a positive way, where they would start building technology for communication purposes, better communication purposes, but also they were looking for to see if we would start sending out communication broadcast outside our planet. And we did. We end up actually doing it. And this happened, I think, in the 1980s, is when they sent a coded message into space. And it took until the early 2000s for them to respond to it, but it was in binary code. And it showed up in a crop circle. And I talked about this in one of my older videos, but I'll probably do another video. But they were really excited that we were actually reaching out, like we were trying to see whether or not that we were alone in the universe. But what was frustrating for some of the positive ETs is that they didn't understand the reason why we chose the constellation Hercules instead of the other popular star systems that was mentioned in a lot of spiritual books that was being published. Like they didn't understand the reason why they didn't broadcast the message to the Palladians, the reason why they didn't broadcast it to some of the Syrian constellations that was broadcast in some of these spiritual books, but they were mostly wondering whether or not that they would broadcast the signal to the Palladian constellation. And they didn't. They broadcasted it to the Hercules constellation, which the great race that showed up and the broadcaster showed up in the crop circles was actually the gray race that actually works for the Galactic Federation, and they were the ones that actually reported us back in the 1950s. So they were happy that we would reaching out, but they knew that they had to bring this type of message to the Galactic Consortium to see whether or not that they can actually respond to it, because we were a protected race during the time. And plus, there is a lot of Anunnaki controlship or conservatorship over this planet. So it was a positive thing, but it was also a question whether or not the human race was asking for help to get rid of their um Anunnaki conservatorship over the planet. So the first one happened in 1952, and this was because of World War II. This was because of the atomic bomb. This was also because the US almost shot down UFOs. I do believe that there were other parts of the globe that they were also shooting down UFOs during World War II. And this court meeting lasts for 7 years. 7 years. And the reason why it lasted so long is because Marduk really did not care about what was going on. He didn't really care. Um, and and he basically said that, oh yeah, the human race is evolving. This is a good thing. But he wasn't really doing his part on galactic guardianship duties, where he was like, and the number one race that actually reported this several times during the 1950s was a race known as the Zuzazians. They're a reptilian race that comes in those little cylinder UFOs, and they strictly come to Earth I think it's every 500 to every 5,000 years, and they strictly come to Earth for vacations. A lot of their high planetary leaders, well, I want to say leaders, but some of their high or government officials, or some of their celebrities from their own home planet like to come to Earth to vacation. And there's several vacation spots or several entrance ways to inner Earth where they go to their, caverns or underground areas where they go and enjoy the hot springs, or they would go and enjoy some of their meetings with some of the other reptilian beings in Earth, and it was like a vacation. They were also celebrating their annual spring festival that usually happens in inner Earth. And they were upset because of what was happening in World War II. They were upset that the humans would not only destroy themselves, but they would also destroy fundamental key points around the planet. Specifically, they were afraid that the humans would destroy certain entranceways where they would go into that the humans wouldn't know about. But they were just really upset because they didn't really like what was going on. Inner Earth also got on board when they actually felt the atomic bomb that happened in Japan, in Nagasaki. That atomic bomb ricocheted not only on the surface of the planet, but it ricocheted all the way down into Middle Earth, as well as other neighboring planets in our solar system. That atomic bomb was so powerful spiritually on this planet that it could be felt all the way to the interplanetary courts in Saturn. So yes, there was massive investigation, and Marduk was dragged into court because they're like, you're not doing your job. The humans are almost destroying the planet. And then this gets into um, the other second court case. So so Marduk was dragged in the court a lot. So the first one happened for 7 years. Right after that 7-year court meeting happened, he was dragged into court again in 1984. The race that reported this incident was the Nagas, which was the snake race. The snake race has an alliance with some of the other reptilian races that are positive, but it was the Naga race that reported the stuff that was happening during the Cold War years. They constantly reported to the Galactic Council. And not only that, but they were also the main ones that would shut down nuclear missiles. They were also the ones that would shut down nuclear bases around the planet. Was basically the Nagas that were doing it. And they specifically hired the Greys, a small portion of the Greys, to do surveillance in certain areas around the globe for nuclear stuff. And interplanetary Earth was getting really upset with Marduk, and they were trying to plan how to get rid of Marduk, but they were also neglecting their duties as our ancient ancestors. So it's the responsibility of our ancient ancestors or beings in inner Earth to monitor what the younger races are doing to the point where they don't destroy the planet. Because if they destroy the planet, they're also going to be destroying inner Earth, and this is what nuclear stuff does. It doesn't just taint the surface of the planet, but it also, if it gets into the waterways, it can pollute the entire planet through the water system. And this is what a lot of people, this is what a lot of humans and a lot of other beings don't understand, especially humans don't understand that if you dump nuclear waste in the ocean, the merfolk is going to get pissed off. The merfolk are also the same as us. They're a native race, but they're not as, it's kind of when you get into the galactic politics, but merfolk and humans evolved at the same time. And so the story that happened, I think it was on the History Channel about merfolks, that was accurate. There was a point of time where the human race, some of the humans went into the ocean during their evolution, and some of the humans stayed on land. That was true. So the merfolk are on the same path as humans. So they're technically our galactic cousin or our co-inhabitant cousin on this planet. And so they didn't really know how to petition to the council of what was happening to them. But they started figuring out how to petition the council when you have a lot of submarines that are just blasting sound waves in the ocean. The whales were ticked off. The whales were ticked off, and the whales knew how to contact some of the other, I guess, aquatic races. So this is the reason why you might have, why a lot of people might have seen UFOs go in the water. Those were not just SSP vessels, but they were also Galactic Council members, because the whale race actually used one of the underwater stargates to petition to the council for help about what was going on because they were being pelted with sound waves. And in 1984, this is the reason why 1984 started to become so popular around that time. It was also the invention of technology. Now, they weren't really concerned about technology. They thought that a lot of the stuff or a lot of the technology that was coming through to humanity was a good thing. So they weren't really concerned about technology at this point, but they were very concerned about nuclear stuff. And I have heard rumors where they actually had a lot of conversations with the US. They had a lot of conversations with I think the United Nations. And I think they sort of like scared them this like you will do no more nuclear stuff type of talk. Or they had to get the education about the harmful effects of nuclear radiation. But the stuff about AI or the threat of AI didn't start until the 1990s into the early 2000s. And the number one reason why is because Marduk was so sick and tired of being pulled into galactic court all the time about humanity and humanity trying to destroy the planet and themselves. So he rectified a plan, which was the Georgia Guidestones. If anybody understands about the Georgia Guidestones, you will understand that it was plans to terminate the human race. But what those Georgia Guidestones didn't understand is that according to the Galactic Federation, or according to the Consortium or Intergalactic Laws, a race is not determined extinct until the population goes under half a million. So when you read the Georgia Guidestones, he literally wanted to wipe out humanity to the point of dubbing the human race to be extinct so that other races could inhabit Earth, basically. Because once a race becomes extinct, or the rate of under a population of 500,000, they're considered extinct, which will allow for other races or other galactic beings to inhabit Earth, and that's basically what he wanted. Basically what Marduk wanted. He wanted to wipe out humanity to allow the galactic consortium to announce that the human race was extinct. Now, you can understand that you could understand at this point of time how angry this made some of the Galactics. So the races that reported him doing this, because it goes back to chameleon law about what I was talking about on my YouTube channel. So chameleon law is showcasing the plans to humanity. It doesn't matter how long it will take, but he was announcing to the world that he was going to do this, and he just thought that the human race wouldn't notice, or would go along with it and just think that the stones were a joke and stuff. But due to our defiance as a race and people constantly defiling the Georgia Guidestones, was our way of rebelling against the rules of Marduk. So the races that reported Marduk's plan to wipe out humanity was the Palladians, the Arcturians, the Syrians, and the Greys. They were the ones that reported it. But not the Orions. Orions have a nice friendship with the Draconians on the Anunnaki. It's like a three-way. But the Greys that you mostly are the friendly ones that sort of work for the Galactic Federation. Those were the ones that reported it. Now there was another court case that happened under Marduk, but Marduk was not involved with that one. This was reported by some of the Middle Earth beings because they were hearing reports that the Greys were messing around with abductions, and the Greys started to being part of, how do you want to say, human subculture. They were becoming part of human subculture. And so the Greys were brought to Galactic Court, and they were told that if you keep doing this for who knows how long, but if you keep doing this, to the point of, I think they were on their like first or second strike, but they wanted to become a little bit more cemented in human culture, just a little bit, because they were really cemented in human culture in the United States, but they were trying to become more cemented in other parts of the world so that they could get kicked off the planet. So, and the number one reason why they want to get kicked off is because they didn't want to be controlled by the Anunnaki or Draconians anymore. So they were really trying to focus more of their efforts on the other side of the globe so that they could get kicked off the planet. I'm just at this point just wondering the reason why they didn't just have the US government help them to get kicked off the planet. Probably because they didn't really want to get assassinated, but they could have just gone to the US military and be like, we just want to get kicked off the planet. We're just gonna, give you something so that we can get kicked off, and then that toy will be taken away from you. But they didn't do that. They were a little bit more cautious, but yeah, Marduk was really getting really frustrated, so he just like, let's just get rid of them. And that was his plan. And a lot of the Galactics didn't like that plan. I think, and humans started to consciously understand that they didn't like that plan either. So the other galactic court case, or the fourth one, happened from the 2010s. Now, this happened, I think, so I don't really know when the New Guardian came into power, but this galactic court case happened from the early 2010s right up until COVID. And then COVID shut it off. And there's a really funny story about COVID with the Galactics, which I thought I was going to share. But this court case was a discussion because Marduk was still in power and he was getting really frustrated with the humans. And they ended the court case because a new guardian was into power. So this galactic court case was mostly about whether or not the human race would go on their organic evolution or their synthetic evolution. And the organic one was like allow humans to figure out themselves and to figure out um the rest of humanity, like allow them to figure it out on their own with a little bit of side help. The synthetic evolution was because we were getting very close to a lot of technology. We were using technology in the way they would thought they would, but we started to become a little bit obsessed with technology to the point of trying to emerge it with ourselves. But they mostly solved this with people with disabilities, so they didn't really um have much concern about it, but they were very concerned about it when it came to the military standpoint. They're really concerned that the military would start making androids that they couldn't control and turn them into Terminators that they couldn't control. But they were also very frustrated with our rulership or our government structure here on this planet. And so they thought that the best solution for us was to have a synthetic evolution where they would plant an AI conservatorship over the planet that would replace Marduk, and also that would work with the alpha system so that our entire government structure or evolution would be mostly be run by AI, and this would prevent bias. This would help eliminate racism, sexism, and a couple other stuff that would happen throughout our government structure. But the main issue was this was because of religion. There was a lot of talk, but because due to the fact that a lot of people started to become a lot more aware about the galactics, we actually have human enforcers here on this planet that have worked alongside some of the galactics to bring evidence force from human culture to solidify that we didn't want AI conservatorship over the planet. So some of these movies or TV shows about AI trying to take over and us fighting back to showcasing AI as evil and stuff was actually used in Galactic Court to solidify that we did not want a synthetic evolution. So so when the new Guardian was put into power, the Guardian basically, that court case was thrown out and said that Earth was going to be going back to its organic evolution or its organic lifestyle. It will not be, there would be no AI trying to control humanity's government structure, that it will be all natural, that the humans will have to figure out how to overcome their bias, overcome religious stuff, and stuff like that. So Earth went back to its organic lifestyle. Now, there were a couple of races that was really, really upset by this because they thought that even though they didn't really want humans to become cyborgs, they just wanted a AI government structure to order to help humanity speed up their evolution, because they really wanted Earth to become part of the Galactic neighborhood. They really wanted for us to reach out. They really wanted us, but they're like, the other races were like, no, you can't do that. You can't force a race to accept AI conservatorship. And then they're mostly like, most of the races that do have AI conservatorship usually end up turning into a cyborg. And they were mostly afraid because Earth has a lot of stargates or certain access points that could be turned into Stargate locations, and they were afraid of AI learning this and using the Stargates to take over certain areas through that. So that's the other thing about the reason why Earth went back to organic evolution, because they were afraid that AI would figure out the Stargate system and use it to take over the entire planet. And so not only the planet, but the rest of the galaxy through the Stargate system. So that was basically that court system. Now there was something really, really interesting. I forgot what it was, um, um, but oh yeah, about COVID. So when COVID happened, when COVID happened, um, it sends shockwaves through the interplanetary court. And so what they did to order to alert UFOs from stop showing up on Earth is that they had a crop circle that was in the shape, I think it was like bacteria or like some sort of disease, and that was a warning to every space visitor that Earth was on lockdown because of the pandemic. Now, there were a lot of races that were rooting for us to unite under COVID and become a world government structure to defeat COVID, but it didn't happen like that. The human race, the human race has this very interesting method of dealing with COVID. Now, COVID, there is a lot of, how do you want to say, stories, but due to the fact that I don't want this video get taken down, I'm going to say this. They were very rooting for us to unite under COVID, but they were also wondering whether or not this was one of Marduk's last efforts to solidify his reign on Earth. But also there were the way to put it is that us as the human race has a very interesting way to unite as the human race, not in the way that they kind of expect us to unite, but we're done. Like the human race consciousness at that time was like, we're done with this. Like we had our fun, like we didn't have to work and stuff, but we had our fun, and it's like we're getting sick of this, and it's like done. So I think it was around like 2001, 2002, and a lot of racists thought that COVID would last for several years. I think COVID only lasted for like a year and a half to 2 years, and like we were done with it. And a lot of the Galactics were like really shocked by this because they thought it would last a lot longer and thought that it would bring unity to the planet, but it didn't. But we were just basically like, we're done with it. And it kind of like showcases us as the human race. Like we do have the fundamental capabilities of uniting collectively, just not in the way that they kind of expect it to. And it kind of seems like that the human race would only unite under a major global catastrophes, which was true. We usually only unite when something that affects the entire planet. But other than that, we just go and do our own thing. but they're trying to figure out the right effort to get every human on the same page, or every government structure on the same page about let's unite as the human race. But that effort is still in place. But they were just really shocked that COVID only lasted for like a year and a half to 2 years instead of like 7 to 10 years, like other previous diseases happened in the past. But yeah, way to go, humanity. Like, we know how to use our collective mindset to say that we're done with stuff, but we don't really know how to use our collective mindset of how to like unite as the human race. But it's like one little small thing that is trying to like destroy us. We're like, nope, you're not gonna do that. And yeah, it's just really amazing how we can use our collective mindset. And there were a lot of grays that actually petitioned to the court system to do a lot more research on the collective mindset of humans. So, because we were so good at as a collective mindset, even though that we didn't know about it consciously, but all our collective souls or collective mindset, like, we're just done with this. And so yeah, that was kind of interesting. But if you guys have any more questions about galactic court cases or xenopolitics, I thought this would be really interesting to share about different galactic politics or other stuff. But if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. My business contacts are in the description below. If you guys want to donate or continue supporting me, donation links are below. But thank you guys so much for the support. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to reach out to me. I do have my services. My services is that if you want a reading or a galactic reading about your origins or any ET contact that you had, that's $100 a day. I don't charge by the hour, I charge by the day. If you want any type of energy work, like Akashic records to energy attachments or anything like that, that's $200 because energy work takes a lot out of me. So, energy work and galactic readings kind of go together, so that would be $300 a day. But if you sign up for my membership for my YouTube channel, you get 50% off, so that $300 will turn into $150 for a galactic and energy reading if you sign up for my membership and support my YouTube channel. As long as you are subscribed to my membership on my YouTube channel, every single time that you book a reading or a galactic session with me, you will always have that 50% deduction on your readings as long as you can show proof that you do have the membership for my YouTube account. I'm also in the process of writing a book that's based off of this. I'm hopefully get it published next year if I can find an editor, but I'm really working on my book that's dedicated to this. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, leaving it below. I love to get to them. But thank you guys so much for the support. Please share, like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps me out. But thank you guys so much.